Problem set problem 1. For the bake sale, Connie baked 144 cookies. Esther baked 49 more cookies than Connie. Question A. About how many cookies did Connie and Esther bake? Estimate by rounding each number to the nearest 10 before adding. From the problem, we know that Connie baked 144 cookies. We also know that the problem tells us to round to the nearest 10. So we need to round 144 to the nearest 10. $145 would be in the middle, so we know to round down to 140. From the problem, we also know, and this is one of the trickier parts where people might have missed, that Esther baked 49 more cookies than Connie. It doesn't not say that Esther baked 49 cookies. It's 49 more than Connie. So Esther equals whatever Connie made plus 49. Now we also are rounding to the nearest 10. So when you rounded, you would round 49 to be 50. So Esther is Connie plus 50. So now we have our parts. And if you think about it as a table, we would have had Connie, who was 144, and we rounded that to about 140. Esther, who was about 50 more than Connie. And then we have, so that was about 190, and then we have our total. So our total would be the 190 that Esther baked plus the 140 that Connie baked. Which is about 330. So we would say altogether they baked about 330 cookies. Using a tape diagram that is explained in the book, if you thought about Esther, Esther would be the 140 that Connie made plus the 50 more. And that's how we got to 190. That's just a visual model of how we got to 190. That was the tricky part of this problem. Problem B. Using the same text for the bake sale, Connie baked 144 cookies. Esther baked 49 more cookies than Connie. The question is exactly how many cookies did Connie and Esther bake? There are two ways to model this visually. You could use a tape diagram where both parts are given and you have to find the whole, or a table. I will demonstrate both. I always like to put labels in the table so you can see what we're working with. Connie baked 144 cookies, so I'm going to write 144. Esther baked 49 more cookies than Connie. This is why labels in your tables are so important, because we could represent Esther as Connie plus 49. And so we need to figure out what that is. If you just work through this quickly, you probably wrote down 49 for Esther, and that is incorrect. So make sure you put your labels in and read carefully. Esther baked 193 cookies. To find the total, add 144 plus 193. $337 is our answer. If you made a tape diagram, it would probably look something like this. We would have a section for Connie, who is 144, and Esther would be what Connie made plus 49. Because it would be the same as Connie, but a little bit more, and then you were asked to find the total, so that's where we would have put the question mark, and we would have found out that the answer is 337. We're also asked on C, is your answer reasonable? Well, comparing our estimate, we said our estimate was about 330. Our exact answer equaled 337. So we would say, yes, our answer is reasonable because 330 was about 337. So our estimate was just 7 off. Moving to question number 2, a little bit lengthier question. Raffle tickets were sold for a school fundraiser to parents, teachers, and students. 563 tickets were sold to teachers. 888 more tickets, that key word again, more tickets were sold to students than teachers. 904 tickets were sold to parents. How many tickets were sold to parents, teachers, and students? And question A says about how many tickets were sold to parents, teachers, and students. Round each number, and you can see a typo there, to the nearest 100 to find your estimate. Once again, it's very helpful to organize the information in a table and help make sense of it. So I could start with my parts. I can see in my first piece of important information, 563 tickets were sold to teachers. I can also see 888 more tickets were sold to students. And I can represent that with a label by saying teachers plus 888. So the students are whatever the teacher sold plus 888 more. And then we have our parents. That are 904. And we are asked to find the total. Now, I'm not going to write those exact numbers in the table because we're asked to round. So when I look at 563, when I round it, I would think it's between 500 and 600, but it's closer to 600. So the teachers were about 600. The students were 888 more than the teachers. So if I'm rounding, I would say 888 is between 800 and 900, but it's closer to 900. I will not write 900 in the column that says students because it is not about 900 more than the teachers. So the teachers were about 600. The students were about 900. So in total, or the students were about 900 more. In total, the students are about 1,500. The parents were 904, so that was about 900. And the total would be adding these all together. 9 plus 5 is 14, plus 6 is 20. So altogether, there were about 3,000 raffle tickets sold. And I got that by rounding each part. Once again, the tricky part was knowing the teachers were about 900, or the students were about 900 more than the teachers. the students were not about 900. You could have represented this in a tape diagram as well. In a tape diagram, we would have had 3 parts. One for the teachers, that was about 600, and the students would be the about 600 plus, but the teachers were about 600 plus the about 900 more, and so the parents were also about 900, and we would have found the total. So that's how it would look with a tape diagram. Part B asks, using that same problem, exactly how many tickets were sold to parents, teachers, and students. Once again, my preference is to use a table, so I will model with that first. I'll start with my first piece of information. Not sure what happened there. My first piece of information tells me that 563 tickets were sold to teachers. So I'll write my teachers down, and I'll write 563. My next piece of information is that the students, there was 888 more tickets were sold to students than teachers. So I'm going to write teachers. So whatever the teachers were, the students are 888 more. So I'm not going to put 888 in my table. I'm going to put 888 more than the 563 that the teachers sold. So that's 1,451. And the parents, it tells us how many they sold exactly, and that's 904. And then we're asked to find the total. The total, we have to add all of these up. 1,451 plus 904. When you add, make sure you line up your ones column, and all the other place values should line up as well. 478. 6 plus 5 is 11. 4 plus 1 is 5. Plus 5 is 10. Plus 9 is 19. And our final answer is 2,918. So the question asks, is our answer reasonable? Well, our estimate was about 3,000 in the end. So we're less than 100 off, but we're talking about numbers in the thousands. So I would say that yes, our answer is reasonable. It's not too far away from our estimate. Now this was a review on problems 1 and 2. If you got both answers, every part correct, you can go on and get an answer sheet and check your work for problems 3 and 4. If you made any mistakes, which I anticipate a lot of people did because these are tricky problems, I want you to go back in and check your work for 3 and 4 and redo the problems where you think you made a mistake, and then get an answer guide to check your work. Remember the strategies of tape diagrams and tables with labels.